Okay guys, welcome back. So we have a new shaft that's been added to the wall this week.
This guy here.
Accra have extended their TZ line. This is an extension of the TZ6 family. So we had the TZ5, TZ6 family last year. TZ5 being a little higher torque, but a little stiffer in the tip section.
Right.
Kind of that designated, you know, for the
low
launch, low spin. I mean, it just burns me to say
whether
that.
It does it or not.
Whether it does it or doesn't is to be seen. But TZ6 was a slightly softer in the tip section, but slightly lower in torque.
So they were kind of the opposite of each other.
They were very much the opposite. Right. The TZ6 was a little higher balance point than TZ5 last year, but not much. There wasn't too much of a difference.
Right.
So Accra this year have brought out the TZ6 CB, the Tour CB, which is an extension of that family. So it still has the same softer tip section, still has the lower torque, but the balance point has been moved much closer to the handle, much higher up to allow for reduced swing weights.
Gotcha. So we did a little bit of measuring before we hit record, and it basically was producing the same swing weight as the Aldila Rogue Black, which we reviewed, I want to say, 3-4 months ago.
Yeah, we done that back end of last year.
Something like that, and then not quite as counterbalanced as this is the prototype, but the Nemesys.
Yeah,
the famous Nemesys.
That was interesting for us to see that this was the most counterbalanced shaft on our wall
in the shop. Yeah,
we compared it actually to a couple of other high balance point shafts like Tensei Orange and Fujikura Pro Tour Spec, and Nemesys was more higher balance point than all of them, closer to Accra and Aldila, which is why we've kind of kept them on. We're going to do a test of all three. The other reason we're going to test all three of these is that they are very similar from a bend profile standpoint. So they're a little bit softer in the tip section, but a little bit higher in balance.
Gotcha.
So very comparable.
So what used to be very unique in terms of a profile, now there's at least a few options.
Yeah, it's a growing sector of the shaft market. I think more and more people are exploring balance points and you know, the value, who we can give certain ones to give them more options. I think you've probably explored a little bit of that over the last 6 months.
Yeah, especially with this driver that weight's a little on the heavy side.
That's exactly it.
I think these types of shafts have been well suited to that head, which I've found.
Remember the first time we tested you with that in a TPT?
Yeah, that's right.
Remember when you were playing that for a while and how that was?
or something.
Oh, I think it was E0, E1 sort of territory.
Not sure why that worked, but it did temporarily.
Sledgehammer.
Who knows why?
Sledgehammer. But you certainly have done very, very well with the extensive testing we've done with Nemesys. And we think that this TZ6 counterbalance will fall in line with that.
Very curious to try that.
Yeah, me too.
So let's basically wanted to get some numbers with each, kind of compare the feels of all of them.
Being that this is a sort of our first video with the TZ6 counterbalance, let's start with that. We'll get some numbers, and then we'll plug in the other two and go from there.
Sounds good.
All right. Good boy, good swing.
Goodie.
Bottomy?
It felt somewhat centered.
Okay.
It's funny. They're good. They're all what, a degree open.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind that being.
Oh, I don't mind.
I think if you hit a few that kind of stay down that left wing but are nice and flat. Yeah, good. Very good.
Just wasn't getting through those first couple. That's all. This feels nice.
Good.
It's nice.
What I hope kind of comes through when we're all done this kind of video of measuring shafts that have slightly softer tip sections is that doesn't have to mean what you think it means.
Yeah, those aren't exactly launching low with low spin either. They're just
like that previous one at 1700 is as flat as you'll get anything to fly at. All right, probably as close as we'll see two shafts on our wall.
Those two?
These two.
Swing weight was identical, right?
Identical in terms of the final swing swing weight, and obviously the shaft being a little bit tipped soft. So this is in the family, obviously, with the Rogue, the famous Rogue Silver.
Right.
The one that was very popular, the one that Spieth used, a bunch of guys used the 125 MSI. This is the slightly softer, tipped black version.
Gotcha.
Okay.
All right.
There you go. This one looks low spin, Matty.
It's different flight, yeah.
Flat.
Interesting, eh?
Get a little more jump on this one. Good. Very good.
I'm making better contact with this one so far. I don't know why. This is suiting my timing better for some reason. I feel like I can find the middle a little bit easier.
Very low spin.
The last few felt exactly the same.
Yeah, you've really found a groove, like you say.
I'm having a hard time pointing to what it is, but it's I'm getting a rhythm with it.
I think that's why, you know, I'm never worried about club fitters not having a job. Because as much as these two profiles are obviously, you know, look very similar on paper, there's no telling what the human element will kind of identify as some differences. So you're seeing something different. You know, we can identify what it is in performance, but you know, unless we can see with gears or some modeling system that can
dynamically
base the deflection off one another, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
All we can say is that you're hitting this one more consistent. I mean, it's taken us way fewer shots.
Yeah, to get ones that we're happy with.
Yep. Okay, fair to say that this is the one that we're kind of going to baseline this type of shaft off of for you. Specifically, we know how well you perform with this one. So
definitely.
Aldila was a surprise, I think, how well that performed with you. We tested that before, and I don't remember it being quite as good as that.
Don't remember having any opinion on it either way. I think it was okay, but wasn't overly impressed or disappointed. So far that's the one that I think suited me best.
Okay. Very good.
It's good too.
I definitely think it's fair to say you get more speed out of higher balance. We've been testing with Ventus Black all day.
Yep.
Really good shaft, but you've been not as consistently quick as this. Come on.
I don't mind it being down the left side for me. That's fine. Yeah.
It's almost kind of the attraction with this one, isn't it?
It kind of is, because then I think I won't hesitate. I'll go after it a bit more because I know it's not going to... That's good.
Good. Very good.
Yeah, that's the swing. I just have to not try to murder it.
Okay, good to test three shafts with kind of similar identifications from a bend profile standpoint, but your feedback was that they all felt very different.
Yeah, for as on paper as similar as they should be, they definitely all had kind of their own unique kind of profiles on them. These two were, I felt like, somewhat close.
Okay.
I did feel like I had an easier time swinging this Rogue. So I know it's subtly lighter, not by much. So I'm not sure if I was detecting that, but that one for me, I found my strike pattern was just better.
Yeah.
So whatever reason, that was just a timing thing. That definitely suited my timing a little bit better than the Accra. But they were both, I mean, I could probably play either of them. And then the Nemesys is sort of what we're used to with it. It really seemed to keep stuff down the left side.
Yeah, you can see that kind of in the dispersion, the little aqua dispersion there launches up and sort of spin is down, even though the face is obviously a little more open, carried a little bit longer as a result of that. So yeah, it's very good for you. We know that by now. I think this was the surprise that how good the Rogue was for you. And then Accra, you know, one of the things we always see when we test drivers is it's almost like the one we have to test first.
Yeah.
we should redo again at the end and discount those first ones, because there is a period of warming into it.
Which was about a mile an hour.
It was about a mile an hour, because if we look at the club head speed, Rogue and Nemesys were identical, identical output and efficiency, and it's not like this was sluggish. It was 1.43, so it's pretty much the same. We just didn't swing quite as quick.
Oh yeah, we'll chalk that up to it being first. They're really functionally, speed and output were probably almost exactly the same. So
if a customer comes in with the type of characteristics, maybe a ping, something where they wanted to add a little head weight, and we would look at this profile. We would pick these 3 shafts.
Yeah, now you've got 3 good options at this point.
They would be 3 that we would cluster and test, because they're very similar, and use the player feedback to see which one they prefer.
The reality is that for a different player, one of these would probably be a different result. Like someone's timing might be suited better with this one or this one. Just for whatever reason, that Aldila seemed to be just, for me right now, seemed to be the one that kind of clicked. The only thing I would say is we did hit a few shots with Nemesys with other heads that weren't that heavy. And it's funny how like the results on that were okay as well. I wouldn't say it has to be a heavy head. It makes sense on paper, but I remember hitting a few shots down at the PGA show with like a Sim and other drivers that we know aren't that heavy. And these counterbalance shafts still seem to work quite well.
That's the interesting part, is how unique of a head the ping is from a head weight standpoint. Your one, I think, as we said, weighs about 203, 204 grams. Sim is about 195, 196. Maverick is a little bit lighter than that. So I think people will be asking, how relevant are these shafts to them? And it kind of depends, about what head you're in. You have to kind of know how each component plays their own role in the system, to know whether it's going to benefit you or not. And that really is the benefit of going to see a club fitter or a club builder and going through that process.
Do drivers need to be D3 for everybody? Like that's one question I think.
No.
Because the only reason we've said ping head is good for these is they've all come in at D3. But is that to say I can't play a D1 driver, a D0 driver, or whatever it might be?
Depends on what your tendencies are. When we were doing the test, when we were varying the balance, so we would lighten the swing weight but keep the total weight, and doing that sort of test. A tendency for you is when you get the balance too close to your hands, is that the head gets lighter and starts closing.
That way.
So it just depends what you do with it. Other people will do the opposite of that, and they may use the mass and the handle to pull the handle more and leave the face a little open. It really just depends if you feel the mass in a certain way and it causes you to react.
So you really just need to make sure you test a variety of different things in the fitting.
And you have to use diagnostic software like this, and obviously have someone who can accurately tell you what's going on.
Take the measurements of the heads, weights, and everything, and then watch the ball flight. Cool.
Excellent. Okay, more options for us guys. Really pleased to add that to the wall, and
quite a good one.
Be good to do further testing with it and see where it fits in and what player profiles we really do well with it. But another good one for the Matrix.
Absolutely.
Good. Okay, lots more to come, guys. See you again soon.